Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, Surfer Rebirth, issue number 1 of 5. I'm telling you, there is a nostalgia hit that just boom. If you read the comics when I was growing up, forget about it. You're in love right now, and you know it. But it is a little bit more than that. It is a little bit more than that, and I'm hoping, really genuinely hoping, that this leads to something. But for now, we're just dig into this the proper way. Also, go look at my Batman the Night issue number 1 to find out why I sound like this. All right, let's talk about who made this comic book and the usual stuff. Ron Mars is the writer, Ron Lim on pencils, Dan Ho on inks, Israel Silva doing the colors, VC's Joe Sabino doing the letters, and boom, a whole bunch of people like there. Silver Surfer created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Guys, we're going back. We got the two Rons, Ron Lim and Ron Mars. Ron Mars is the guy who took over for the Silver Surfer after the Infinity Gauntlet debacle. The 6-issue limited series by Jim Starlin, and Starlin was also writing the Silver Surfer at that time, and Mars is the one I believe who took over. Ron Lim as well. He was already doing all the art for the stuff, and George Perez didn't, and I already did these interviews where Perez explains these things. Go and look at my interviews section, and you'll find where he talks about this. George Perez, who's known for doing team books more than anything else, said, I don't really want to do the Infinity Gauntlet. I mean, I'll do it if I have to, but I'd rather actually see Ron Lim do this. I think that he'd be perfect for the job. Well, starting with issue 4, I believe it was, Ron Lim did take over for the Infinity Gauntlet, and yeah, Perez is like, yes, see, I told you. He was fantastic. Both of them are just amazing artists, and God bless, and God, and life simply isn't fair with what's going on with George Perez right now. Like, life simply is not fair, and F you, life. Anyway, Mars and Lim on this, man. Holy crap. Seeing this stuff, I know that so much of what I'm seeing in here is nostalgia, but I had to reread the comic book. I mean, it's very rereadable. This issue is extremely rereadable. All right, no issues there in this issue. Haha. So aside from the nostalgia that I saw, aside from seeing the way that Lim does the Silver Surfer's surfboard, and you see where he's got the surfboard, he's got the little half moon crescent on it with the little lines shooting out of it, like 7 or so little pointed stars, right? Where it looks like when Silver Surfer is standing on the board with his 2 feet, that it looks like it's caved in a little bit, but the board, with the reflections, but the board itself is perfectly straight. So it's just that interesting look that he's got with it, where it feels so cosmic, right? I mean, like, how else you look at the way that the spaceways are drawn, you look at the action in there, where it's not too overblown. It's not going to be Kirby-esque, where it's like, people are, oh my God, the guy backhanded him, he went flying through 6 walls. No, it's not going to be as dynamic as that, but it is going to have its own sense of, look, he got hit. This person got hit. Look at how he got hit. Boom! Look at the background. Look at the face. Look at everything that's on here. God. The story. It's going to be that typical Mars story where it's like, I've got a story to tell. Now, let's tell it. And it's going to be straightforward. There might be a twist or turn here or there, but it's going to be easy as hell to follow the story, and it's going to be fun, it's going to be simple, and it's going to be so goddamn enjoyable. This is the two Rons writing the Silver Surfer. The nostalgia is all there, but I've never gone back and looked at the two Lims doing this stuff through a critic's eye. I only read this stuff when I was a fan, when I was, 16 I think I was when this stuff was coming out. So maybe I was a little bit older, but anyway, no, I think I was around 16. Anyway, I wasn't a critic back then. I didn't know all the inside stuff for writing comic books, or how to write, or the different kinds of stories. I didn't know the different art styles and the way that you're supposed to actually see a comic book. I didn't know any of that stuff. So I had the incredible opportunity to do that. Now, these two are both classically trained. They were classically trained by the best in the business when the best were still around and still editing comic books. And not to say anything bad about the people editing the comic books now, but, but anyway. So I look at this and I see story, simple. You could pick up with this story. If you don't know who the Silver Surfer is, there was a little blurb up on top. It didn't even need a whole page, because that's something that's very important, and I've mentioned this before. The writers of old were able to, the people presenting the comic books were able to have you jump in on any issue at any time and say, holy crap, I understand what's going on. I don't know anything about this character. I've maybe never read a comic book in my life. Right? But in general, I've never read this character before. I have no idea who the character is, but I felt like, you know what? I'd like to be able to jump on and see something like this. Boom. And that's exactly what happened. You could jump on the story with just a little bit of blurb. You know exactly who Silver Surfer is for the sake of this story, and you can move on. You don't need to know his middle name. You don't need to know his, ex-girlfriend. You don't need to know any of the other information for right now, for what you're about to read in the story. So minimal stuff, boom, here you go, start reading. And I loved it. Oh my God, I loved this. They could have pulled this right out of the freaking, late 80s, early 90s. They could have pulled it right out of there and just said, boom, here you go. And it would have been perfect. Perfect, but with the updated art. That's right. It doesn't have all the freaking dot matrix colors or the four color system. It's the modern art while still having Lim. It's not necessarily about how good or bad the artist is in regards to actually drawing the characters. No, it's more than that. It's about the positioning of the characters, how you're going to put the characters. Look at the Silver Surfer on this on any panel on here. Sometimes you see all the boards, sometimes you don't, right? Does it all have meaning when you do or not? No, but it's the idea that Ron Lim is showing you a picture, and he knows what the Silver Surfer is about to say, because Ron Lim already wrote what the character is going to say. Go and look at a Ron Lim script, and you can find them. You can actually find a Ron Mars script. Right? Ron Mars is actually the writer who, when I was trying to write my my one issue for that contest for the Darkness, right? When I was trying to do that, his was the script I actually looked at. His was the script style that I actually tried to replicate. Didn't work. Whatever. It's the first time I ever tried to submit a comic book to to a company bigger than a nobody company. Top Cow was big enough at the time. This is their biggest character ever, the Darkness. So it didn't work. It's not Ron Mars as far as my fault. I wasn't able to make a good enough script. 3 weeks simply wasn't enough time to submit the damn thing. Whatever, it is what it is. As far as everything else though in here, my God, the simplicity of everything. Beautiful art, simple art. Let me actually go through some of these things so I can hopefully explain some of this better. Why can't I? Oh, because I'm looking at it. Okay. Let me look at this image right here. For I am the Silver Surfer. You could see Lim's version of the Kirby Crackle. You could see the movement of Silver Surfer. Some of the line of his surfboard actually going off of the panel all the way up on top. You can see the cosmic spaceways still kind of seemingly blending in. You can actually see it goes above where the next panel is. What is the next panel there for? Just to see the hand coming forward, because this is the power of the Silver Surfer. Then you see the next panel where he's flying forward. You see the position that he's in, and then you also see the position of that energy wave, that almost Kirby Crackle kind of thing that he's doing with the little mushroom cloud going forward, right? Because that's where his hand is going forward. You can see the direction of what he's doing. You can see him gathering everything up. This is almost like if you're watching The Matrix, okay? With that beautiful cinematography from back in the day where you just see Neo, right, doing one of those things. Where you see, let's say, like, you know, some high sorcery movie. Let's say, Aang, what is that? Avatar, The Last Airbender, right? Where you see them doing the thing, and it's also woof, and they make the air or the earth go forward, or, you know, one of the, the classical Aristotelian elements go forward and things like that. But they're doing this big thing first, and you see the wind and the rock and everything moving around them as they're doing it. It looks so incredible, and it's easy to follow along, and you look at it, it's like, wow, this is beautiful. There's so much there in such a simple way to do it. No panel is wasted, while at the same time, look at all the empty space, right? Doesn't make sense, but that's the way that the palette is being used. Ron Lim, one of the surviving greats of the artists from back in the day, who is still, thank God, in the game. Guys, if more comic book artists paid attention to or called up Ron Lim and said, can I sit at your feet and learn from you? Or just look at what he does and understand what he does. If some of these guys were to look at, and look, Ron Mars has done plenty of work since Silver Surfer and the Kyle Rayner days, right? And they haven't been the greatest, you know? I'm not saying that these guys are the best in the business or they've been the best in the business. That's not what I'm arguing at all. What I am saying is that this is the stuff from their heyday. This is the stuff that got them back into, or that when they were at some of the tops of their game, this is the stuff that they were doing. And it came back to them naturally. And what I would like to see more than anything else is for Mar-vell right now to say, you know what? These two guys, whether we keep them together in a Silver Surfer comic book, my prayers would be answered. Or if they simply said, you know what, we're going to split you guys up, put you over here, put you over there, but I'd like to see what you guys can do separately in Mar-vell. What else you guys can do? Can you bring back the magic of what you guys used to do back in the day? Case in point, Lim should probably be put on a team book. All right, if he's okay with it, because I know it's a lot to draw and you get paid per page, not per character. I get that. That's always been the case, you know? But it's one of those situations where I would love to see if they could retain that gusto that they had for doing the Silver Surfer together back in the day. I would love to see if they could do that with other characters also. How incredible would it be to see Ron Mars doing, I don't know, let's let Ron Mars do I want him to do freaking Budiansky and all them's Sleepwalker? Maybe not. I'd rather see Budiansky. You know what I'm saying? Do something like that. But Sleepwalker was never such a great character to begin with. Just one of the great characters. Let's see. Can Mars do an Iron Man? How about that? Would that be so bad? One of the biggest box office selling movie characters ever. Can we actually make an Iron Man comic book where it's great again? If you're going to have these incredible artists doing that, why not have an incredible writer? And I don't want to disparage, I'm not naming names, all right? I'm not here to disparage anybody else. But for the love of God, people know Iron Man, people want Iron Man. Give us an Iron Man character, right? Give us an Iron Man, right? Give us somebody who is classically trained. And if that book does really well, as I expect it could, then it's time to start training your writers the way that these guys were trained, the way that they were taught to do this. It's time to stop taking these famous names like, oh, you wrote a young adult novel? Well, I bet you'd be great at doing a comic book. And oh my God, your sales suck. What's going on? You really can't figure it out? You don't take a comic book writer and say, I'll bet you could do a young adult novel, because they can't. Not right away. They need time. And you don't just put them out there and say, we're going to sell whatever it is that you put it out there, like we're all the beta testers of everything that these people do. No. These are people who are classically trained to do it the right way. That's what I want to see. I want to see them being given other tasks right along this line. Hire these guys to do more after this 5-issue limited series. And guys, if you liked this stuff from back in the day, buy the book. Buy the actual physical copy of the comic book. Not just the digital online version. But do you see all the great variant covers that are out there? Do you see them all? You can't find a cover that you want? I'm telling you, it's worth it. And this is how we get these kinds of classically trained writers to come back. This is how we see sales start to improve again, like big time with Mar-vell. This is how we get other people to say, well, how are they doing it? I want my sales to be that big. I want Mar-vell to bring me back. That's what we need to see. If we don't see that, we don't see that. Okay, these guys eventually die off and we'll always have the dollar bins, right? We'll always have those dollar bins. I've got a whole bunch of this stuff here. I'm good. But I would love to see more. I would love to see comic books, when they were great, come back. You never know. You never know. It could happen. Those people are still around. I'll talk to you guys later, but we are losing some of them. God damn it. Life is unfair in regards to George Perez. Anyway, go look at the Facebook page to see more on that. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Like the video. Watch an ad. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.